Hi everyone, welcome to another development update for QUACK-OUT. So, in this video, I'll kind of go over some quick updates with a couple new items. First off, I have this cool turret guy. He, as you can tell, it's like two different pieces stuck together, and so he kind of has this full 360 ability to, like, shoot basically any direction, and he'll basically, once he's deployed, he's ready to go. And it's pretty straightforward. He doesn't do all that much damage, but he's annoying enough to where, like, if you don't address him, like, it's gonna be a problem. And then I also have the minigun, or chain gun, or whatever you prefer. And this one's also made up of two unique elements that don't quite line up correctly, but goofy graphics are nothing new for my game, so it's gonna look a little bit weird. But essentially, the barrel will, like, rotate and stuff and fire, so it should be really fun to take a look at in game. And I'll go ahead and show that off really quick. I do have it set to that so that the only items that spawn in are the turret and the minigun, just to make sure I can show them off appropriately. The minigun actually has a bunch of recoil on it, and you'll see that in just a second. So let's go ahead and pick up an item. So here's a turret. We'll throw that out there. You can see it kind of lands, and then it'll try to find a player to shoot at. There it goes. And there's the minigun. Alright, so there's gonna be a lot of noise on this, but the minigun has a ton of recoil, and so you can actually just fly with it, just holding down the trigger. So it's pretty nice on that front. And I actually plan to have it be kind of strategically useful especially for capture the flag, to where you can, like, basically propel yourself to the get the flag, and then since when you have the flag, you can't actually glide or use the egg to protect yourself. You can just use this to propel yourself and effectively fly all the way back home. Now you might notice that I actually have done a little bit of touch-up work on the level itself, and I've added some what they call ambient occlusion on the map, as you can see. And so it's kind of darkened up these areas just a little bit, just to make it feel more, somewhat more realistic and a little bit more dynamic in the shadowy parts of the level. And so you can see that this corner over here is a little bit darker. And, oh, somebody spawned a turret up there. Yeah, it's supposed to, it usually is correct in terms of spawning the turret at the right spot, but it looks like we got one that was kind of off-centered there. So I'm still in development, obviously. They also stick to these, and so you can just, like, put them on that and let it, kind of fly around for forever. They are able to be destroyed with guns. Let's see if I can find an enemy one. Let's see. And they only have 50 health, most importantly, so there's not, like, a huge thing to deal with. The enemy bots also do target them whenever they can. And I probably need to actually lower the turret health even more, just because, like, in some cases the enemies just don't know what to do with them. So anyway, usually you won't have this many turrets at one spot, but because I've limited the item selection to only the two new ones, that's the reason why there's so many of them. So we'll go ahead and exit out. All right, so another thing, yeah. So with the basically one thing I picked up from a couple of pretty neat tools. There's something that that was released called vPainter, and you can actually look it up on the asset store yourself, and you can see it's right here. You can actually put this into your project, and so one of the things I've done with it is for the my mesh here, you're able to basically directly paint stuff in the game or in the editor here. And so what you're going to want to make sure to do is have the flag checked, use as albedo for vertex color. And this is, of course, Godot version 3, and this is not Godot 4. I know that the materials are set up a little bit differently in Godot 4. If you're already onto that, but make sure that you have this checked all around here. And so if we want, I can basically, let's see. So let me make sure I'm just editing the right thing here. And so I'm going to select Painter, and I can effectively darken up a couple of spots that I want. Just like that. And it adds just, basically instant depth and dimension to kind of the level that you want to make. And especially for something as low poly as mine, it pretty much instantly achieves the effect that I want. I don't have to do much tweaking with it once I've painted it in there. There we go. Just kind of touch up those spots a little bit. You can see that's very fast, very easy to do. And especially like when I'm looking at this, when you want to paint this, you want to make sure that you're not painting in the direct sunlight. So I wouldn't want to paint up here. You only want to really paint over the shadowed regions. I think this spot is probably one of the darker spots, and then I think this corner is the darkest corner in the game, or in this level, just because it's absolutely pointed away from the light, and there's no way that there's any light touching it now, so that's kind of the idea behind that. But yeah, it adds a whole layer of depth to the game, and I'll actually show you what happens as soon as I disable using that as the as lighting. So let's go with we'll do this one, and you can see instantly like my level looks flat. It doesn't look very good, but once I just touch that, there you go. And of course, it's probably a little bit more ideal to have already planned this out in Blender and do it in Blender, but I prefer modeling the base, being able to prototype with it in Godot, and instantly being able to play around with it. And having that vertex painter inside of Godot is actually really useful. I hope that someday maybe there's like an add-on that would auto-generate AO or GI just for vertex colors, though, not just for the not like light maps and stuff. It'd just be like kind of the light maps for vertex colors, if that makes sense. But I'm pretty sure Blender already has some of that functionality. I think it's called dirty vertex colors, and that kind of basically emulates ambient occlusion with vertex colors. So it's something to think about, something to add to your game, especially if you're going for a low poly art style. This is a common technique that was used in older games, and you might as well just use it. It's really straightforward, really simple. It doesn't add any, to my knowledge, it doesn't add any disk space concerns. I've tried to bake light maps before for these levels, but they ended up being like 100 megabytes, 200 megabytes, and my game is only like 40 megabytes, 50 megabytes. So I don't want each level to take up 200 megabytes. That's just unneeded. So if you want to keep your size small, all constrained, use vertex colors to kind of paint in the occlusion, and make sure you check use SL Beto on your material that you want to shade. And that's pretty much it for this development update. I'm still trying to touch up a few things in the game, especially with the turret placement. As you saw, like some of the turrets would kind of not be placed correctly in the level, and I'm still working on that. I'm also going to implement a couple of single player modes. I'm working on those. I don't have anything to really show off on that yet, but as soon as I do, I'll post another devlog. I appreciate all the love and support. I know that a lot of people are really wanting to play this, the full version, the complete version, and I'm really looking forward to delivering that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for your attention, and like and subscribe. Thank you.